Alvin Kamara on unacceptable play in a 5-game losing streak. Ladies and gentlemen, today this video is presented by NewOrleans.football. This video from Alvin Kamara is from last night. It's from moments after the Saints collapsed, hit rock bottom against the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football in front of God and everybody. So let's hear what Alvin has to say about the team, the situation, and I always think it is kind of wild that, I mean, I know they have to, but like think about how mad and how upset and how frustrated and how all of that the players and the coaches are after a game like that. And then imagine getting in front of cameras and getting asked questions. Like, it's very difficult, very difficult. So, always kudos for the players and coaches who do step up in those situations and talk. So let's hear what Alvin has to say. He usually is very transparent, usually is very upfront with how he's feeling, and he has a good soundbite. So I'm excited for this one. Let's listen.
Where does the fix begin?
Man, I don't know. We just got to be better. And I'm gonna get away from your question for a second and just say it's a couple of unacceptable things going on. One, our play is unacceptable, and two, the dome being empty or emptying out. I think I saw some fans leaving the second quarter. That's unacceptable, but I don't.
I'll let him finish.
Blame the fans. It's on us because they come to see us play and perform, and when we don't perform, that's the results you get. But I've never experienced that, and if I was a fan, I'd leave too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not good enough right now. For whatever reason, we got to figure it out.
Yeah. So I mean, he's. I've seen the dome. I've seen people leave. They left last week. Like this was the last stand, I think, for a lot of fans. I obviously, we sit in the same seats. We've sat in the same seats for over a decade. A lot of the people around me have been there, every game. And after the Bucs game, there was a lot of conversation of like, look, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I can keep showing up for this team right now, the way that they're playing, the people on the field. And part of it is like unfortunate. Like, yeah, I mean, this isn't the team. This currently is not the team that the fans are expecting to see, or the fans are paying to see, or the fans bought season tickets to see, or the fans, after the second game, after the Dallas game, ever since Eric McCoy went down, it just has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So yeah, you can't blame fans for not wanting to watch a fourth-string practice squad center, fourth-string practice squad left guard, fourth-string practice, right guard, practice squad wide receiver, undrafted free agent wide receiver, undrafted free agent wide receiver, and a fifth round rookie quarterback. You can't expect fans to want to watch that on top of a head coach who no one believes in, on top of a defense who, I mean, quite literally every single play for the last 3-4 weeks has been watching the opponent get 7 yards a play. Like, all of that together compounded, yeah, fans don't want to sit there and watch that. I remember the first year, I think I had Pelican season tickets. And this is before like the C.J. McCollum trade and all that stuff, and Zion was hurt. And the team it was like Gary Clark, Garrett Temple. I mean, there was some like G League bench players playing big time minutes. And going to those games, I remember sitting in the stands, we would go down 20 points immediately. And we'd look around and go like, what are we doing? Like, why are we here? Like, why are we sitting here for 3 hours a night on a Tuesday watching Gary Clark and Thomas Satoransky get blown out by 20 points? Like, there's better stuff you can do with your time. And I think a lot of fans feel like that with the Saints right now. Like, why am I watching Connor McGovern and Nick Saldiveri and Lucas Patrick and whoever just get blown off the ball? Spencer Rattler get hit before there's even a chance for the play to develop. And then after we go 3 and out and punt, then I have to watch whoever the opponent is get 7 yards a rush. Like, that is not an enjoyable experience. And I heard a lot of people in the stands last night say, I'm done. Like, I am not coming back and watching this team. I'm not going to watch this until there's a change and until something happens. And I don't blame them. I don't blame him at all. And I don't blame people for leaving last night. There was multiple times in the game where, and I never leave games early. There was multiple times in the game where we talked about like, all right, let's just leave and let's go to Caesars and let's go play blackjack or something. Let's go play Ultimate X, because it just wasn't it. And honestly, if I wasn't waiting for Bub Means to get a fourth reception, more than likely we probably would have left in the third quarter. And that's crazy to think about. A primetime game in Drew Brees' Hall of Fame induction, Sean Payton's return to the Dome, and fans are sick of it. And I absolutely do not blame them at all.
I know y'all are in the excuse-making business, but I mean, quarterback, both your wide receivers, bunch of interior, how tough is it without all those?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to play with injuries like that. It's tough to play like that, but I mean, it's the NFL. Next man up.
Kind of true, but also kind of not true. Again, like saying, well, they're all professional football players. Injuries shouldn't be this big of a deal. Well, they really kind of aren't. Like, a lot of the players that are playing right now are not NFL level players, and they may be like Cedric, like Mason Tipton and Bub Means and Cedric Wilson and Connor McGovern and Nick Saldivari and whoever. Like, they all may be NFL, like they're actually in the NFL, but they should not be the one wide receiver. They should not be the starting center. They should not be the starting left guard. They should not be the number one target against like top 5 defenses. That's another thing. We've played the Buccaneers. We've played the Broncos. Like, these are like top 5, top 10 defenses. So, it's not like we're playing the Browns or a defense where they're just getting rolled over. Like the Buccaneers, that's one of the hardest fronts to go up against in general. The Broncos, one of the hardest defenses to go up against in general. And then you throw into like, oh yeah, well, this team is on their 4th string, whatever. This team is playing their 3rd game in 10 days. Like, there's a lot happening. So yes, I do think the offense, you can kind of say, I mean, what do you expect? How do you fairly grade anybody? How do you fairly grade Kamara? Or how do you fairly grade Rattler? Or how do you even fairly grade McGovern? You can't sit here and be like, man, we got a real Connor McGovern problem. It's like, no, we don't. It just is what it is. Man, Spencer Rattler needs to be better. No, he doesn't. Like, he's getting. There's no time to throw. There's no time to do anything. We cannot run the football. We're getting dominated during every game. The game script is out of hand. He's just getting reps. I mean, at that point, it's just live reps. But all of that does not answer the question of why is the defense as bad as it is. That part does not equate to the injuries. That part does not equate to Bub Means, Mason Tipton, Cedric Wilson, Spencer Rattler. That part is not, on the injuries. Why is the defense as bad as it is? Why is that the case? I understand why the offense is struggling. Taysom Hill, gone pecan, Chris Olave is out, Rashid Shaheed's out, Derek. I understand that. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, no doubt about it. Totally explainable. How the defense has gone from a top 10 unit to the worst defense in the NFL in 7 months is mind-blowing to me. And I know what people are already typing in the comments. They're saying they quit on Dennis Allen. I have a really hard time believing all-pro veteran players at the last bit of their career for a team that they've been with for a long time has quit on the team, their teammates, the fans in week 6 and week 7 of the season with 10 weeks remaining, 11 weeks remaining. I have a very difficult time believing that. They may think it, but the idea that they're allowing running backs to run for 7 yards a carry and bulldoze them over, and they're willing to go out there and do that because of they quit on Dennis Allen, I just don't think that's a thing.
So whoever the next men up are, they got to play. I mean, there's a certain standard that you got to play up to, and it just is what it is. That's the reality of this business. And the other reality of this business is when you start losing too much, everybody get on the hot seat, right?
Oh yeah.
Coaches, when the coaches leave, then players leave, and person that like it just is what it is, and that's something that I definitely understand and I realize, and it just sucks because there's people that aren't in as good as a spot as me that are, you know, they putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this, and you know, like I said, when you do too much, when you get too many L's in and you don't produce enough wins, then everybody's jobs are on the line. And that's affecting people's families.
100%.
So it's things bigger than football that are affected by football.
Do you feel like the team is still supporting Dennis Allen?
Yeah, that's not a question for me to answer. I don't got nothing for that. You said the team, like as in the locker room? I mean, we here, we go to work every day. We got to work. We just got to keep working and figure out what we got to do to put string wins together.
How much does this team need to get away, reset, refresh?
I think this is a, to your point. Yeah, I think guys need to kind of just be around some family and just reset and recharge and come back ready to attack the rest of the season. You know, it's like a little mini bye right now, so we get a chance.
Yeah, the Saints do have a 10-day break, which I think is another reason why this is like the perfect time to fire Dennis Allen, because you don't really want to fire him. Like, you couldn't fire him after Tampa because you only have like 3 days until this game. That's too much happening to fire and get another guy in there. But 10 days, that's a long time in the NFL. So firing Allen now, getting Rizzi as the head coach in the meantime, kind of do this reset that Alvin's talking about, hit the ground running against the Chargers. This is the time to do it.
Chance to kind of get our minds right, get our heads clear, and then come back and get to it, see what's going on.
Does getting healthy fix what's wrong with this team?
I think getting healthy.
I mean, in a way, like, it's unfair to say no, because if we would have beat the Broncos, and this was the conversation I was having before the game, if we were to have beaten the Broncos and we're 3-4, and all of a sudden then it's like, well, we are going to get healthy. Like, Chris Olave is going to be back, I would assume, next game. Derek Carr is getting into that world of, like, he could probably be back in the next game or two, especially with a 10-day break. You know, some of these injuries, like Cesar Ruiz is probably close to coming back. Eric McCoy is not close to coming back, but he is going to come back at some point, you would think, if we were winning. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're 3-4. The schedule does get easier. If you do get healthy, you are kind of chasing that like 9-win, 10-win. You could probably be in a situation where you get a wild card, or maybe even you're fighting for the division, you know. So, but now it's like, well, you're 2-5. If you drop the game against the Chargers, like right now, I would say the season is pretty much over. Pretty close. I mean, it's pretty close to being over. When you factor in the losses, when you factor in the injuries, when you factor in all that stuff, unless we got really healthy really quick, because we are in kind of a, like I said, the schedule does get easier, but the schedule never gets easier if you're the worst team in the NFL. And right now, we're playing like the worst team in the NFL. So it's impossible to say the schedule gets easier when every single team is theoretically better than you, which right now they are. And it is what it is. Like right now, there is not a team in the NFL besides the Cleveland Browns, but the Cleveland Browns are kind of getting healthy. Like if you told me we're playing the Cleveland Browns and Nick Chubb is playing, why would I expect Nick Chubb not to have 150 yards rushing? You know, like the teams just want to run the football against us, and we can't stop that. Like the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins is about to go insane. J.K. Dobbins is about to have 160 yards. So it kind of gets easier if we get healthy, but where we're getting healthy doesn't really solve the big problem. Where we're getting healthy, like I said, with Chris Olave and a couple guys on the line and Carr, that doesn't fix the defensive problem. And the defense, like Paulson Adebo, is out for the season. He probably will not play for the Saints again. So, I mean, Pete Werner, I guess, coming back, but Pete Werner's not Ray Lewis. You know, like it's not going to change the defense that much. It'll change it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it makes us more competitive, I guess, because the offense, you know, right now is so bad, but it doesn't really fix the problem.
Makes us feel better. I don't think it's going to be just the ultimate fix. Because there's things that we got to do better. We shoot ourselves in the foot. I don't think we're playing with a lot of detail. I don't think we're playing with a lot of energy. Like Thursday night football is one of the more than any other Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night football. You got to come out with energy. And the team that comes out with energy and the team that comes out with, because we both played on Sunday. You got 3 days to recover and you got a game. The team that comes out with and just puts their mind in a place of where, like, shoot, it's Thursday. We know it's a short week. We just got to go play. The team that can do that, I mean, that's the team that's the team that's gonna win. And I don't think we did it today. I think we came out flat. I think we came out. I think we just came out and it was a Thursday. It was a Thursday and we had a game. It wasn't Thursday night football.
Tyron was talking about like recommitting and kind of get your mind right and focusing.
Yeah.
Is it like necessary right now? Just to
100%. Because I mean, what is that? How many losses is that in a row? 5.
5.
Shit, that should say it all right there.
Is this as disappointing a stretch as you can remember going through?
Yeah, I ain't never been through that, especially.
Yeah, I saw a stat where, I'm paraphrasing now, but I saw where Sean Payton in his entire career never started 2-5, and Dennis Allen has started 2-5 in 2 out of 3 seasons, I think it is, something like that. Someone double check me there, but so yeah, I mean the team. It's crazy because you got players like Alvin who they've seen both sides of it. Like they saw the peak of what the Saints could be. And he has seen some dark days. Dark days last year, dark days this year. So what a roller coaster of a franchise.
I mean, the Dome, I've been here 8 years, and I've never seen that Dome clear out like that. And like I said, if I was a fan, I'd leave too. Just being honest, because it's just people fed up.
What's kind of like the vibe in the locker room right now? Is it frustration or it's not frustration?
Guys tired of losing. Frustrated. I can't speak for everybody and say concerned, but definitely frustrated. You don't want to win. You do that. You don't want to lose. You do this to win. Everybody's in here to win, and when you're not doing that, it's tough. But I think we got some good leaders in here, and the messaging is always going to be to keep your head up. And we all men in here. We all know what the job calls for. And you go through adversity. You got to figure out a way to dig yourself up out of a hole when you're in a hole. I don't think there's I don't think there's any guys in here that's gonna lay down player wise. You know what I'm saying? That's because I suit up with these dudes. I sweat with these dudes, bleed with these dudes. So I don't think it's anybody that's gonna lay down. But I think it's a lot of things that we got to figure out to be able to succeed.
Do you feel like you've been saying the same stuff for a while? It feels like
that. 100%. Like this honestly feels like I might have to check the date on this because this might be a video from last year because this is exactly what was going on last year. Exactly where it was the same product week in and week out. And it was a lot of this kind of talk. It was just like, it's not good enough. No one's quitting, but we're frustrated and we got this and this. And now we are right back to that. I think it's just, in a way, it has run its course. And whether that's, top down, but the player, like these players, this team, the coaching staff, all of that, it's just run its course. So, like I said on Twitter, is this all Dennis Allen's fault? Probably not. But he's the head coach. And in a way, he kind of sets that culture, sets the heartbeat of the team. It's run its course. So we need a new culture. We need a new voice. We need new figureheads. We need all of that has to be new. It has to change. And will we get it right with the next guy? I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to find the next coach. It's hard to find the next vision, culture, all that stuff. But we talked about last year or in the offseason, we talked about how important it was to get a new voice in here for the offense. And it was. And I think the offense, I think the idea, the vision, the philosophy is good. Well, now it's just time to get new everything. And it's not any fault of these guys, but even like the Cam Jordans and the DeMario Davises and the same voices and the same players and the same, I think the Saints are just now in a very transitionary period of the franchise. And if they go down that road of a rebuild, which seems like we are, then it's going to be very, very different. It's going to be a very different team. Quite literally. It'll be very different as far as who's the head coach, what the voice is, what the culture is. I mean, again, like, you bring in, if you go get Mike Vrabel and you bring in Vrabel and you keep Kubiak in them, Vrabel's going to set, and I'm using Vrabel as an example, but any coach is going to be like this. Like, he's going to set his own culture and vision for this franchise. And on top of the offensive vision and culture changing, and then you start moving players out, who are the new leaders? We've heard the same leaders for a long time now. Alvin, DeMario, Tyrann, Cam Jordan. Probably going to move off those guys. So who is the new person doing this interview? Who is it? Who are your new team leaders, along with who are the new coaching leaders? I mean, it's a complete rebuild of the franchise. Is the only path that I see happening.
This is copy and paste.
Yeah, copy and paste. I think we had 2 weeks of where it was like, and you know, I always say I feel like I'm like the negative Nancy kind of, because you know we have 2 good weeks and I'm like, well, we still gotta, you know, we're gonna have to play better teams and better football, and then I mean, fast forward, now we 5 games down, so you know, it's just it's kind of copy and paste from what's been going on, but I mean, we just gotta find a way.
Do you use those 2 games as like knowing what this group is capable of, or is there danger in relying too much?
I mean, I looked at it like it's a win. We on to the next week. You know, I didn't really look at those wins as, oh yeah, this is what's going to be going on all year. I looked at it as like, okay, it's a good start. You know, we seeing some things that, you know, can win us a lot of games, and then it wasn't as much as many mistakes or blemishes that can lose you games. But again, you got to play better teams. So I mean, your best in those games got to be better in games against better opponents. So
I'll tell you this too. And this is something else I heard a lot yesterday, where it's like, well, maybe the Dallas and Carolina wins weren't that great. Well, Dallas is better than Denver. I'll tell you that. If nothing else, Dallas is the same as Denver. Like, I don't. If Denver and Dallas played on a neutral, I don't think Denver is 2-3 points better. So Denver is not good. Bottom line, it's not like we just played the best team in the NFL. You lose to the Chiefs, okay, it is what it is. The Bucs are good, above average, but the Broncos, you don't beat the Cowboys by 40 and then lose to the Broncos by 30 at home. So I think it's I think that alone kind of throws that all out the window. The whole idea like, oh, well, the first 2 weeks were against bad competition. Thursday night was against bad competition, and we lost by 30 points at home. So there's a bigger thing going on here than a step up in competition. Losing to the Chiefs on the road, yeah, that's a step up in competition. But you don't have a 70-point swing between the Cowboys on the road and the Broncos at home. So, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, I like a lot of these players. Alvin's one of my favorite Saints ever. Watched his whole career. But this roster, the contracts, Alvin, he's playing on like no money next year. He's playing on a weird contract where he's basically in the last year of his contract with no guaranteed money next season. For a running back, that's a crazy proposition to be in. And to be out there and being a part of this has to be brutal. So I feel bad for him. I feel bad for these players. I'm not saying that it's Alvin's fault or DeMario's fault or Cam's fault or Tyrann's fault, but you look at the writing on the wall or Derek Carr's fault. You look at the writing on the wall, you look at the contract, you look at the situation this team is in. You have to start making business decisions and figuring out where you can get draft capital, where you can save or free up money, where you can get off of bad contracts. If there was a time to do it, it's now. It's not a time to do it when you're 9-8, right? It's not a time to do it when you're teetering on a division title like last season. When you're 2-5, potentially 2-6, it's probably time to do it. So I'd be making those phone calls if I was in the front office. I would be really looking at the books of, okay, who do we need to prioritize kind of moving off this contract? Who gives us the best draft capital back? And like Chase Young is a perfect example. I like Chase Young, but he's on a 1-year deal. We're not in any position to be winning right now. If you can get a 3rd-round pick for Chase Young, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you move off? Why wouldn't you move off of him? Alvin Kamara, if you can ship him to Dallas or ship him to a team that needs a running back, and they'll send you back a package, why wouldn't you do that, right? So interesting times right now. We'll see what the Saints do, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.